All right, dudes, Bill from TapRack.com. I'm going to give a short little video here on maintenance of your BE Meyers MAWL, but I think that the info in it is pretty universal to any laser illuminator. I thought you want to maintain that thing and make sure it's ready to go. So first step is you don't have to take it off your rifle to clean it. I just did it so I can sort of show you some close-up stuff. But the first thing I'm going to do is make sure that the MAWL is turned off, and then I'm going to pull the battery out of it. I'm going to be going through the mode selectors on this thing, and I don't want to inadvertently fire an IR laser into my face when I'm not ready for it. So battery's coming out to make sure it's 100% safe, and I'm going to go to work. So the first thing I'm going to focus on, man, is the head of it, because this is the business end. This is where all the good stuff happens, and so I want to make sure that it's clean. My first thing, man, is I'm going to just dry it as much as I can, that kind of a deal, and I'm going to come in with a little bit of compressed air, and then mainly around the mode selector cap. I'm just going to come in and spray stuff out, both underneath it and then down into where the emitters are at, ending in the IR position, and just getting as much of that junk off of it as I possibly can. So I'm now set up. Some of the emitters are visible. All I'm going to do is going to take a clean Q-tip, a little bit of rubbing alcohol, isopropyl alcohol, dip my Q-tip in it, and then go into each of those holes and just clean out as much of the soot and debris as I possibly can get. So rub around, take the dry end now, and come in and just dry it as best as I can. Good to hook. Go into the Viz mode setting on it now. Opens up different locations, same thing, wet end in first, kind of scrub it around, and then come in with the dry section and clean that out as best as I possibly can. So when I inspect it now and look down in there, mine are looking pretty damn clear, but sometimes a hard day of shooting, that kind of a deal. This end is typically going to be near the muzzle, and if you're not shooting suppress, you're going to get some soot and whatnot in there. Sometimes the alcohol will not get it all clean, so I use these little cheap mechanical pencils. Pretty good little eraser end on it. If I want to keep it clean, just run it across a piece of paper real quick, get all that soot off. And then I'm going to come down and put it in those holes and just kind of gently scrub it around a little bit and see what I can get out of there, and then through the different settings of it, so the eraser will clean me up a little bit more. Last thing, man, is I'm working on all kind of weather conditions, that kind of a thing, and so it's possible that I'm going to end up with some water underneath the rubber cover right here. Not a big deal, man. It's rubber and aluminum. If it's fresh water, rainwater, it's not going to do any damage, so I just leave it alone. Don't bother popping this thing off, because I don't have to do anything. If you're dealing with salt water, you might want to pop this cover off. It comes off pretty easy. You kind of directionally rotate it back on. That'll let you get underneath there, clean it up with some fresh water, and you just pop the rubber cap back on. But you don't have to do that either. You can just run it under fresh water for a little bit, make sure all that salt water is washed out, and then you're good to go. Last bit, man, is do not try to remove the mode cap at all. So I keep hearing about dudes taking that screw out and they're trying to pop it off so they can clean those lenses and do whatever they're going to do to it, and that is not user level maintenance. If your cap is loose or if there's a problem with it, get back with your reseller or contact BE Meyers direct and let them deal with it. So do not screw with the directional cap trying to pop it off or prying under it, doing that kind of thing. Just leave it the hell alone. On to the next two bits here, the centerpiece. Not much there. You can pretty much just wipe that off down the center here, wiping off your buttons and do what you need to do, all that kind of crap. So pretty simple. And then the last thing, battery cover, simple stuff. So on these electrical connections and these, sometimes I'll take an eraser and kind of clean those out, but it's only on the outside. So like these things are probes that stick into these holes. Don't try to ram crap down those holes. Just leave it alone, not necessary. Last thing is on your battery cover, where if you're running pressure pads, putting your switch ends in there, your leads end in there. I have had what looks like a chalky oxidation kind of residue coming out of those suckers when it's been really wet, long call outs, long training days, that kind of a thing. And so the same process, man, just Q-tip with a little bit of alcohol, stuff them down in there, kind of rub them around a little bit to get what debris and dirt you can out of it, hit it back in with the dry section, just kind of swirl it around a little bit. And then that is, it's good to go. It's clean at that point. So I'm going to reassemble the MAWL as I normally would, clicking it back together for the direction that you're going to be using it. I typically, if I'm cleaning, I'll come back in and just get me a fresh battery out, one that I known status of the battery. I don't want the battery to create an issue. Double check the MAWL, make sure it's in the off position before I slap the battery in it. So battery's going to go in, cap goes back on. clicks down, tighten my screw down, and then my last step is to come in and turn it into the viz mode and just make sure that my device is working, everything's hunky-dory. So I have not had a problem with pulling the MAWL off, putting it back on the gun, and having it return to zero. And there's two reasons for that. Number one is I mark my frame, or sorry, my rail and the MAWL so that it goes back in the same position. And the last thing, I don't know if you guys can see that, but I also have witness marks on the mounting screw and the body of the MAWL itself. So that as I'm tightening that screw back down, I end up in the exact same position that it was in when I zeroed the gun, and it's been good to go. Through multiple rotations of taking it off, cleaning underneath the rail, doing whatever I need to do. So a couple quick tips for you on MAWL maintenance. Like I said, those things will, these tips will work on everything. Last consideration here is on all three pieces of the MAWL when they clamp back together, there's O-rings in there to give you your weather-tight seal. And so I typically will check those out. And then a good tip from my buddy Chuck P at Press Check, get a little bit of silicone grease. I think that tub cost me like $1.50 at Ace or something. But I just get a little finger full and slap that on the silicone O-rings and then slap it all back together, and now I got a watertight seal. So let me know if you got questions on that. Maintain your equipment, man. You never know when it's coming. So bill at taprack.com.